Today I'm going to show you one of the easiest, most commonly overlooked and slept on exercises that you can be doing to correct your lateral pelvic tilt. So lateral pelvic tilt, where one hip is hiked up higher than the other, it's very common. I made a lot of videos about this, and it can be kind of complex in terms of what needs to be done to fix this. There could be missing hip internal rotation. There could be ankle mobility issues. There can be a whole bunch of things going on, but almost certainly one exercise will help to fix this. And a lot of people just kind of overlook it as way too basic of an exercise. And today I'm going to show you that exercise, give you a little bit of, some tips and tricks as to how you can modify that to make that more specific to fixing your lateral pelvic tilt. And then I'm also going to show you a different version of that common exercise that kind of works some other muscles. So let's get into it. So what is this secret, underlooked, undervalued exercise? It's a basic side plank, all right? Lots of people hate doing these, and the things that you don't like doing, the exercises that you tend to avoid are usually the ones that you're not good at or are extra challenging, and those are the exercises that we typically need to be doing the most, okay? So when lateral pelvic tilt is present, one hip is hiked up higher than the other, there's all the muscles between the rib cage and the pelvis, between the left and the right side, are imbalanced during lateral pelvic tilt. In a lot of my videos, I put a lot of focus on the quadratus lumborum, the muscle that attaches on the 12th rib, the transverse processes of the lumbar spine, the back of the pelvis. It's on your lower back. You have one on each side. That thing is usually shorter and tighter on the hiked side compared to that same muscle on the other side. But what is also imbalanced is the obliques. The external obliques. These muscles also attach between the ribs and the hip bones, the iliac crest, and they're also imbalanced. And one very basic overlooked exercise to really help iron out these muscle imbalances is a side plank. So you probably already know how to do a side plank. You could basically just do it like this. All right? What we're doing here is we're isometrically working both the obliques on this side and the quadratus lumborum, that low back muscle, all right? So that done evenly on both sides can be a super powerful thing, all right, to help to create more level hips. And people just sleep on this all the time. My clients that have lateral pelvic tilt, I help them find the root cause of it, and we go deep into that, but I also have them do side planks all the time, somewhat evenly on both sides. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more kind of specific to your lateral pelvic tilt, what you can do is one singular extra set on the side with the low hip, all right? So if the right hip is hiked up and your right shoulder is kind of low and you're like this, if we wanted to kind of expedite the correction of the lateral pelvic tilt using side planks, we would do a singular extra set on the side with the lower hip with the higher ribs, okay? So if I had a lateral pelvic tilt with my right hip hiked, maybe I'd do 4 sets of side planks on the right side and then 1 extra set, so 5 sets in total for the obliques on the left side. Let me know if that makes sense in the comments down below, but effectively that's something that you can do to kind of expedite the correction process that side planks can give you. If doing the side planks that I just showed are a little bit too challenging, you could always modify it and do like a knee-based version like this. Once this becomes easy, then progress to the non-modified kind of traditional side plank exercise. That is something that I wanted to share. There's so many videos on this online, and a lot of people get kind of lost in the sauce and they forget about basic movements that are extremely helpful and useful in helping to correct lateral pelvic tilt. If you're gonna do more sets on one side relative to the other, again, that would be on the side that's lower, the hip that's lower. That would be the only side that you would wanna do a little bit of an extra stimulus for, 1 extra set, just to tighten up those muscles, pull that hip up a little bit. You only wanna do 1 extra set like that, and I don't recommend doing that indefinitely, okay? You always wanna reassess things. Doing something on one side of the body that you're not doing to the other is generally not the best idea long term. It's okay to do that temporarily if you're trying to fix something, but it's important to reassess once the correction has been made. You want to kind of do this on both sides evenly. Now, I don't want to stop here and just talk about side planks, okay? Side planks are very powerful, but there's kind of a modified version of a side plank called a Copenhagen plank, which is also very powerful. And typically I have my clients do these together, a combination of side planks with Copenhagen planks. So I'll just show you the Copenhagen plank right now. I'll explain some of the differences between this and a traditional side plank. But a Copenhagen plank, you're basically gonna put your foot up on a bench or a bed or a chair or something like that, and then you're going to hold your body up like this. This is a Copenhagen plank, right? This leg is floating, right? It's not even on the ground. So the difference between that and a side plank is in some of the muscles that are recruited and turned on. In this, the leg that's on top, okay, the groin muscles, all right, the adductors are working. The obliques are still working on the side closest to the floor, but instead of the hip abductors also working on that side, it's the groin on this side, okay? And this is also something that is going to be very helpful for fixing lateral pelvic tilt, because oftentimes these groin muscles are imbalanced as well. So this is a modified version of a side plank that is just very, very useful. And oftentimes people really struggle with this one because just isometrically trying to contract those groin muscles, they feel how weak they are there, all right? But again, when you're doing a regular side plank, all right, if I was just doing it like this, okay, my obliques are working on this side in here, but so are my hip abductors, these muscles on the outside of the hip. Because after all, I am pushing down on this leg like that, pushing it down into the floor like this to keep my body up. So it's working the abductors, all right? And the obliques on the same side. When you do a Copenhagen plank, you kind of flip the script here, and now the adductors, the groin muscles on this leg are working, and the abductors down here are totally shut off. It's still working the obliques, but it's working the obliques on this side and the groin muscles on that side, all right? And that's another one of those exercises that is just very, very powerful. And it works the adductors, the groin muscles, instead of the abductors, while at the same time training the obliques. And this is something that I basically have my clients do equal parts side planks. So for example, if I had them do 2 sets of side planks on each side, with this, I would have them do 2 sets of this on each side as well. With this one, I would not recommend doing an extra set on one side. I did say that that was permissible on the traditional side plank, but with this one, I would not recommend that. This one, you just want to kind of keep an even amount. And of course, there's a modification to this. Doing what I just did was too hard. You can modify it, reduce the lever of your leg by just simply doing it on your knee, like this, okay? Way easier, right? Perhaps a better starting position for a lot of people, especially if you've never done this before. But those are 2, what I think are super slept on movements as it relates to fixing lateral pelvic tilt. I've helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people fix lateral pelvic tilt. And while I do a lot of other more advanced stuff, one thing that I have all clients do by default if they have a lateral pelvic tilt is a combination of side planks and Copenhagen planks. There you have it. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you found this useful. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm uploading here weekly now, again. So I'm back on YouTube, and this is the type of content that I make here. If you're a little bit too lost in the sauce and you're a little bit confused, you have complicated muscle imbalances, mobility issues, postural problems, and all the YouTubing that you're doing is really not getting you the answers that you need, check out my coaching program, all right? You can see that down below by opening up the description or clicking the first link in the comments. Basically, what I do as a coach is I assess my clients deeply, joint by joint, figure out where they have muscle imbalances, postural issues, mobility restrictions, and then I build custom plans for them. So if that sounds like something that you'd benefit from, click the link down below. I'd love to serve you at a higher level. Other than that, let me know what you want me to make videos on in the future in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.